The fork was still warm between my fingers when her answer cut through the room like a quiet blade. "The hospital sent the appointment," my wife's mother said. "But we used the surgery money for my daughter's birthday. She only has one birthday a year." She smiled as if she'd solved some minor household inconvenience, not robbed me of the one thing I needed to keep living without pain. The candles flickered. Someone laughed down the table. My pulse didn't change. I set the fork down. Slowly, almost tenderly, because something inside me had just clicked into place, something I'd been holding shut for months. My wife looked at me with the same casual entitlement she always carried when her family surrounded her. Her hand brushed my arm, as if I should understand, as if this betrayal was normal, expected. My chest didn't burn, it froze. And that's what frightened them, the calm. "You still don't know," I said, letting the words settle into the tablecloth like spilled wine. They all stared. My wife blinked first. "No? What?" I watched her mother's face pale, the color draining like she had finally stepped into the wrong room, the wrong timeline, the wrong version of me. My fingers tapped the table once, a quiet signal, a warning. "I guess none of you know who the surgery was for," I said. Silence stretched across the table, suffocating, heavy, perfect. So I leaned back, voice steady. "Who wants to ask?" Their breaths stilled. Their eyes trembled. "Who is it?" The truth hadn't arrived at Thanksgiving. It had been following me for months, whispering in the quiet spaces between conversations. It began the day I saw my wife's phone light up at 2 a.m. Not with a name, just a heart emoji. A simple, stupid heart. She said it was her friend. Women send emojis, she explained. Sure, women did, but wives didn't send them at 2 a.m. while lying beside the man they swore they loved. I didn't say anything that night. I just watched the reflection of the screen on her face. Watched the small smile she didn't realize she wore. The next day she was extra affectionate. Overly affectionate, like someone trying to erase digital fingerprints with kisses. Still, I stayed silent. Then came the late nights at work, the sudden guardedness around her phone, the way she turned her body away from me when texting, tiny movements she thought I wasn't meant to see. Her family, of course, adored her. She could do no wrong. They treated me like the background character in her sparkling little world, there to provide, to serve, to orbit. So when the doctor told me I needed surgery, I didn't tell her. Not immediately. Not until I saw a message pop up on her phone while she showered. It wasn't the message itself. It was the name she tried to hide in the notification preview. "See you tonight. Same place." Not a friend. Not even close. I felt the betrayal before I confirmed it. A cold, familiar intuition. The kind that grows roots. And instead of confronting her like a desperate man clinging to hope, I did what desperate men never do. I watched. Quietly. Strategically. Like someone preparing for a controlled detonation. Inside, I already knew she wasn't alone in her deception. Her mother knew. Her sister knew. Everyone but me. Or so they thought. I started small. Phone records. She deleted threads, but not timestamps. Receipts. She always threw them in the kitchen trash, assuming I didn't notice crumpled slips from restaurants we'd never visited together. GPS logs from her car. She forgot I had the app installed. I traced every lie, every detour, every late meeting. Each discovery didn't hurt, it numbed. Pain only comes when hope is alive. Mine had died weeks before. I collected evidence like a surgeon collects tools, methodically, unemotionally. I wasn't preparing for a confrontation. I was preparing for extraction of truth, of myself. Then the doctor called. The surgery wasn't optional anymore. The pain I'd been carrying quietly had become something darker, something that threatened permanence. But strangely, that wasn't the part that shook me. It was the realization that she didn't notice. Not the limp, not the nights I couldn't sleep, not the winces I swallowed during simple movements. Her attention lived elsewhere, with him. Her mother suggested we wait on the surgery, that birthdays and vacations mattered more than my health. I didn't argue. They had already made the decision for me. They thought they were being clever, manipulative in that subtle, familial way. But they didn't know I'd already rerouted everything. I had my own appointment, my own savings, my own plan. And the surgery wasn't for me, not anymore, not first. I had discovered something during my quiet investigation, something she never expected me to find. A truth buried deeper than infidelity. A truth that wasn't about love. It was about blood, DNA. Hers, not mine. A medical file she forgot to hide. A diagnosis she intended to keep secret. A future she'd been gambling with while spending my surgery money on balloons and candles. When I saw the prognosis, a part of me fractured, but not the part she thought. The file sat on my phone the entire drive to Thanksgiving. Her test results, her condition, the surgery she needed, the surgery she assumed someone else would pay for, someone like me. She'd hidden it for months, choosing to pretend everything was fine, choosing denial over honesty, manipulation over vulnerability. When I finally looked up from the screen at the hospital parking lot earlier that week, I realized something sharp and devastating. She didn't trust me enough to tell me the truth, but she trusted her mother enough to spend my surgery fund on a birthday party. The betrayal wasn't the disease. It was the secrecy, the entitlement, the belief that I existed only to absorb her consequences. So I printed everything, neatly, quietly, and tucked the papers into my jacket, not for revenge, but for clarity. When she asked at dinner, "Who is it?" her voice trembled. Good, she should tremble. I slid the folded documents across the table toward her and watched her fingers shake as she opened them. Her eyes widened. Her mother gasped. Her sister covered her mouth. My wife whispered, "How long have you known?" "Long enough," I said. I kept my voice low, controlled, emotional. "You spent my surgery money," I said, "on a birthday." She swallowed hard. I didn't think you would need it so soon." "It wasn't for me." Her breath caught. "You thought I was planning to save myself," I continued, "but I planned for you." Quietly. Because despite everything, I still believed you deserved a chance to fix what you broke. Her mother spoke, voice cracking. "Why didn't you tell us?" I looked at her like she was a stranger. "I did," I said, "just now." The room froze. My wife reached for my hand. "Please, don't walk away." But it wasn't my legs that moved. It was my clarity. I stood slowly, pushing my chair back without a sound. "You lied," I said. "You manipulated. You hid everything that mattered. And when I needed help, you chose candles and cake." Her tears finally came. Mine never did. I walked out of the house without looking back. The cold air felt clean, real, honest, something the last year hadn't been. Behind me, I heard her sob, chairs shifting, voices rising in panic. None of it reached me. Truth has a strange weight, heavy when carried alone, weightless once released. My phone buzzed. The hospital, my appointment, my surgery, my recovery, all arranged without her hands, her choices, or her shadow. I exhaled once, slow and steady, like someone stepping out of a burning building they watched ignite. People think betrayal hurts most when it's discovered. They're wrong. It hurts most when it's understood, when the love becomes proof. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need chaos. I only needed distance. And now I had it. As I reached my car, I whispered the final truth, quiet enough that only I would hear it. She needed the surgery. A pause, a breath. But I needed the escape. And for the first time in months, I felt whole.